Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did not attend Joe Biden's inauguration, instead deciding to join a picket line, joining the Hunts Point produce workers who were on strike for simply wanting to get a dollar pay raise. So let me show you a clip of her here on CNN with Chris Cuomo discussing why she was there.
No inauguration for you. You were up where in Hunts Point with workers fighting for minimum wage increase, mandatory minimum wage in the South Bronx. Why? Do you hate Joe Biden? Why were you there?
No, you know, in New York City, 60% of all of the produce in New York City and in the region comes through the Hunts Point produce market. And these workers that have been risking their lives every single day this past year in the pandemic, who are loading the trucks, getting this produce so that, you know, putting food on our tables, are struggling to feed their own kids. And they're asking for something very simple in a time when the grocery industry and the delivery industries are experiencing record profits as we all stay home during COVID. And they're asking for a dollar raise, a $1 raise from a corporation that enjoys plenty of public tax benefits and giveaways. And it is frankly shocking and embarrassing that there is even a question here in giving these folks $1 an hour in a raise. They deserve it. They deserve to have their issue amplified. And the Teamsters 202 team out there has been doing incredible work.
All right. So this is fantastic. This is when you are somebody who is a more progressive left-wing member of Congress, and really right now your power is limited based on the numbers. The squad is only so big, and when it comes to the Senate, I mean, it's like Bernie Sanders, nobody else. So your power, in many cases, is really relegated to what you can do in terms of spotlighting different issues and rising up the voices of people who are in a fight like this. So let me give you a little more info actually on the strike itself. So this is from Teen Vogue, which, by the way, Teen Vogue does fantastic reporting. If you didn't know, check out a lot of the work that they oftentimes are deep into these issues. But they write here, the strike by a union representing about 1,400 workers is a big deal for anyone in New York who likes produce because, according to the WNYC, about 60% of produce that comes to the Big Apple goes through the Hunts Point produce market. WNYC reported on January 17th that NYPD and a private security firm would work to keep food operations normal. So this is a big deal right now. When there is limitations on the amount of power that workers have, when you have unions and you have them fighting to increase conditions, increase wages, it is vitally important for members of Congress, for politicians who especially have a massive platform like AOC, like Bernie Sanders, who's also done this a number of times as well, to spotlight these various fights while also doing what they can, working within the walls of Washington to push legislation forward. Now, also during the strike, got to mention this because this warms my heart. Teamsters JC16 here tweets out 21 train cars of merchandise turned back at Hunts Point Market strike line. The locomotive engineer said, "We're Teamsters too. Turned the freight car around and headed back to Ohio. Union solidarity." This is amazing. When you have other unions, other workers joining with you in solidarity, this is how you develop your power and use your power to achieve great things. Now, one last thing here, just to give you an idea of where the Biden administration is right now in terms of workers' rights. So Biden is planning to sign executive orders boosting workers' rights and pushing for a $15 minimum wage for federal staff. So this really right now is the bare minimum in terms of the one aspect of this. So one would ensure people can still claim jobless benefits if they turn down a job that risks their health. So we're talking about right now the bare minimum. Joe Biden often is self-described or describes himself as somebody who is, a fighter for workers' rights, for unions. We're going to have to see because historically he's largely been on the side of corporate interests. But $15 minimum wage right now, as I keep saying, this is the bare minimum because this fight's been going on for 10 years. So at this point, we should begin discussing a little higher than 15, maybe 20. So yeah, this, while good to see, still is the bare minimum. But this is why it's important for people like AOC, Bernie Sanders, and others who align themselves with the workers' movement to not only use their power to try and push Biden and Democrats in the right direction on workers' rights issues, but also use their power to spotlight different fights going on around the country and, as a whole, uplifting unions and workers.